All right. Welcome to Table Turners. This is the podcast where we sit around the table and talk about faith, culture, community, and the things that shape our lives. I'm Lem, and
I'm
you are.
Toby.
And
Welcome, guys.
today we're hey, welcome. What's up? You well? And today we're asking a simple but really important question.
Bethany-
Who actually
Bethany
gets
can
a
answer.
seat at the table? Because if you think
About
about it,
James. Sorry.
I'm talking. Today, we're asking a simple question, but really important question. Who actually gets a seat at the table? Because if you think about it, tables are powerful things. They decide who's in, and sometimes they decide who's out.
Yeah, this takes me back to like lunchroom, middle school lunchroom days.
What happened at the lunchroom in middle school days?
Nothing. It was fine. You're always included. But you think of like on movies, right? When kids walk into the lunchroom and they're standing there in the corner with their tray
And
of
they're
like,
not
where do I
included.
sit? Because there's the jock table, the popular kids table, the all these other tables. Anyway, but it's funny because most of us don't even realize that we're doing it, that we're sorting tables, that we're not inviting people to our table.
Yeah.
Um, but every table has kind of a guest list, I guess you would say. Whether it be in our homes, in our churches, in our friendship groups, wherever we may be, we're including people or excluding people.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. 100%. When I think of tables, I don't think of table,
Yeah.
but the
You think of
inclusive,
food.
exclusive. No.
Just kidding.
Well, yeah, I think of food. Yeah. I love food. I love food. Um, yes, I think of food, but I think of, is that movie? Is it Forrest Gump where he gets on the bus?
Seats taken.
Seats taken. Seats
Seats
taken.
taken.
Everyone's like, their seats taken. No
And
one
they
wants
have
to
a
sit
whole
next
seat
to them
next
on the
to 'em.
bus.
It's so
No one
silly.
wants to give them a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what that looks like. We're going to ask questions. And first of all, why does the table matter? Why does the table matter? So here's something that's easy to miss when we read in the Gospels in the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We call those the Gospels. In the ancient world, eating together wasn't a casual grab a quick cup of coffee or something, but in the ancient world, meals meant something more than they do today.
Yes.
And if you ate with someone, you were saying, I accept you. I'm connected to you. We belong together. My food is your food.
Yeah. And
Here, come take a seat at my table. So it meant belonging.
and I love that. And I love basing our home life because a lot of stuff happens around our table.
Oh, yeah.
From
Burps, farts,
from
some eating.
from the Gospels. But meals were social, relational, and even good, just spiritual spaces where in-depth talks happen because you're relaxed around, good food,
Yep.
a dessert, a cup of coffee at the end of the meal. And so it's where community is really formed.
Yep.
And we love welcoming people into our home to
Yep.
have a seat around the table. And obviously the name of our podcast, we love
Actually
having that community.
in church life, communion. So whenever we do communion corporately as a church, we go back to the time that Jesus sat with his disciples, and we do communion, Compassion Church, to do it in remembrance of that time that Jesus sat with his disciples. But the misconception with that is that it only happens on a Sunday. And really, no, communion happens every day. In the way that we look at the Gospels, the way the meal happens every day, it happens with your family. It's not just a Sunday thing. And when we say communion, many of you be asking what that means. It's like the bread, the wine that we take together. In our church, we do that every weekend. Not every church does that. Some churches decide to do it once a month and they highlight it and they stop for it. We do it every single Sunday. Now, do we stop and do we highlight it every Sunday? No, we don't. Because it's supposed to be a regular thing.
But it is a community event, I feel like, at our church. You
Yeah.
know, highly suggest that people get into groups and your family unit and take it together, and so yeah,
I personally like church communion because we take it so often. Sometimes I like to just take it by myself. Because I like just reflecting on that time. And then the other reason I do that is because at home we take it as well on a regular basis. So it's not
yeah,
just meant to be a Sunday thing.
no,
Communion happens with your family.
yeah,
So you don't need a priest for it. You don't need a pastor for it. I don't feel like it's meant to be around the table. So this makes what Jesus did even more interesting because again in the Gospels, we find Jesus sitting down at tables with people that the religious leaders wanted nothing to do with.
hmm,
And, um, he sat with tax collectors, people with messy reputations, outcasts,
yeah.
those people that no one wanted at their table. Jesus included those people in his table.
And the religious leaders asked the disciples, "Why? Why does your teacher
Mhm.
sit with these people, these tax collectors, these sinners? Why does he do that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And,
he's like,
that
"Well,
question reveals something deep about community, deep about communion and the human heart. We all have that tendency to decide who belongs at our table and who doesn't belong at our table. And
mhm,
Jesus flips that table over,
maybe flip a table."
especially to the religious, because if you see the religious in the Gospels, you read it,
Mhm.
they're looking at this and they're like, ooh, he's sitting with the sinner. He's
Well,
sitting
yeah.
with a tax collector,
I mean,
right?
prime example
Hmm.
is Zacchaeus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The wee little
And
man.
yeah. And he looks up at Zacchaeus in the tree. You all know the song. If you don't,
Hmm.
Google it. I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah.
But he wanted to go to his house. He wanted to spend time with him. But this is a man that his community rejected because people saw him as corrupt, as dishonest, um, someone who really betrayed his own people because of the things he did. But yet Jesus sought
Hmm.
him out
Yeah.
and wanted to be with him.
Yeah. He invites him to dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, come have tea tonight at my place. He's like, yeah, I'll be over right
No,
now.
he's like, "You cook me tea."
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
Yeah, he
cook me.
cooked me tea.
I did a sermon on that once. I remember, and that word place, um, it the actual meaning of that word, if you go back and look at that, the place
Mhm.
is, when you were, I don't know if when you were small, you like dramas at school,
I was the
and
star.
they put
Yes. Was the
whatever.
good
I think
I
you're like
was
a
Brenda, the
sunflower or
good
something.
witch. I was the good witch.
Good. Oh
Third
my
grade.
goodness, that's terrible. But they put an X on the stage and they said
Yes,
X
that's right.
marks the spot. Like
Yeah,
when you come on the stage,
that is your
Lem, you're gonna stand right here and you're gonna wave your arms and you're gonna say
so
your
they are the
lines, right? And if you didn't, so in that, when Jesus looks up at Zacchaeus, it says he came to the place, meaning meaning it was God ordained that had to happen.
Mm,
That's the exact place at the exact time, at the exact yeah,
yeah, that
X marks
moment.
the
Yeah.
spot to where he was to stop there, look up, and see Zacchaeus. And then he didn't just see Zacchaeus; he saw past.
Yeah.
Because Zacchaeus was a tax collector.
Mhm.
No one liked him. He was a
Yeah.
small guy, right? And Jesus's fan club was around Jesus. That's why he climbed the tree because he's a small guy. But Jesus not just came to the place and looked up, but when he saw Zacchaeus, he saw past.
Yeah.
He
What the
saw
world saw.
past, yeah, what the world saw him
Mhm.
as being.
Yeah.
And when we talk about making a place around the table, we've got to see through the lens or the glasses.
Yeah.
Have you been to Specsavers? No. Have you gotten the Jesus glasses yet? No, I'm just kidding. um, oh, that reminds me about Malachi's glasses coming from Poland that he
I
left in
know.
Poland.
And we've paid more than double what these glasses
Anyway,
are worth.
rabbits, chasing rabbits. But
Oh,
yeah,
teenagers, teenagers.
he left his glasses on a school trip in Poland. Anyway, so What I'm saying is Jesus saw past, and he sat at Zacchaeus's table in grace.
Mm-hmm.
And also when he was with his disciples, he was there in grace and he served freely in grace.
Yeah.
I think that can be um, as compassionate heart.
Yeah.
That's where we should also be as the church.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it goes back. So I preached this past Sunday, and it goes back to one of my points that the church was never a place meant for people who have it all together.
Mm,
Because if you need to wait until you have it all together to come to church, then it's gonna grow lots of more spider webs than are already there. But it is a place where you can come, flaws and all.
wait a minute. So you're saying it's not the cruise ship for the saints?
No, I wish. Let's go on a cruise.
I,
No,
I don't know if cruises are still going these days.
well, not in
Not in the current climate.
yeah. But no, I mean, it's just like I use this as an example on Sunday. It's just like telling you you've got to be well before you go to the hospital. You've got to be fit before you get to a gym.
Mhm.
Like, no, that is the purpose of the hospital is to make you
Yeah.
well. The purpose of a gym is to help you in
Mhm.
your, process of getting fit and obtaining that goal. So coming to church as you are is
Mhm.
the heart of
Yeah.
what church is, and especially compassion. We want
Mhm.
you, flaws and all.
Yeah.
Like, we're a bunch of misfits. Is that the phrase we used once upon a time?
Misfits, but now
We're
we
a
have a
bunch.
fit because we've met Jesus. We
What?
have a purpose.
Oh, but yeah, but
Misfits don't have a
yes,
purpose.
but we're still. I mean, we're not perfect,
No.
and we still have mess.
Mm,
Just meaning you come to church doesn't mean that everything's going to be
no.
perfect and you're going to be fixed like that.
But something that we
But
do at Compassion is we have Alpha, and people need to come with their questions. They need to come with their broken stories.
yeah,
They need to come and feel that they, you know, if they don't feel like they fit in anywhere, they need to come and feel like they fit in, that they belong, and that they have a seat at a table.
yeah,
I think we do that pretty well.
yeah.
Obviously, there's always room. There's always room at the table. There's always room to where we can bring up another seat. Um, but yeah, church should be that kind of place. It should be community.
I mean,
I
that's where
just made,
Jesus thrives in the
yeah,
middle of that.
I just made a new T-shirt, and I love this
Oh
phrase.
yeah,
It says, "No culture without community,"
so good.
and it's true. You don't get culture without having a community.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have community without a culture. They
Mm-hmm.
go hand in hand.
Yeah,
And the church is the best community. It should be the best community. It should teach people what it truly means to be inclusive, not what the world
yeah,
says is inclusive, but what true community is. Because that's why God created Adam and Eve, is to have community with them. It's from the very, very beginning. Someone asked me that question this morning here in the coffee house. They said, why did God create us? Why did He create us? And I said, to have communion, to have communion with you,
yeah.
you know, to have communion with us. So, and I'm just gonna keep on preaching.
um, let's move on from that.
So
I
how do
think
you
we,
practice that though?
yeah.
Because that's it in theory, but what does that look like?
So I think a big part of that is one of my favorite words I like to think is hospitality.
Hmm.
And it's a big word, but it can be super simple if you break it down. And it just, looks like inviting someone over for dinner, um, meeting somebody in a coffee shop, welcoming
Mm.
them. Yeah, who's literally a social outcast, if you will, on the edge of
Hmm.
the room, somebody who doesn't ever get invited to that table, just
Hmm.
inviting them in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you have to be Martha Stewart. It doesn't mean that you have to be Joanna Gaines or any other famous, um, designer, baker, whatever it is. Just opening your home, very basic, opening your extra seat on the bus, at a coffee shop, whatever it may be.
For me, it means not being religious about it.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is when you practice hospitality, don't be don't be weird.
Yeah.
You know,
And don't do it
don't jump straight
to
into the
check a
gospel
list.
message
Yeah.
of like, are you saved or not saved?
Yeah.
Like that then creates an inclusivity and an outcast situation.
Yeah.
Just act yourself, act like a human being, act
Because you're
like you
trying to be friends with
love
a
someone and just
yeah.
talk to them, talk to them. I think sometimes that in this conversation of creating space at the table, that's what we do so often, and that's where I think the Zacchaeus story comes in. Is it was the Jesus fan club crowding around Jesus, and we shouldn't be that Yeah, we're fans of Jesus, absolutely, but make room for those to get to Jesus. Be the
Mhm.
tree that Zacchaeus climbed up to meet Jesus.
Yeah.
I heard that years ago
Yeah. Be
in
the
a
tree.
sermon, and I've kept it ever since. Be the
I'm the
tree.
tree.
S-
Because that one thing can change a person's life.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one day
Yeah.
could mean, they're continuing on this earthly life or it's done,
And
you know?
practically, what does that look like? Sit down and practice listening
Yep. With no agenda.
with no agenda. Practice listening and loving that person for who they are. Asking them about their day. So
Mhm.
tell me about your day. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your struggles.
Yeah.
You know, and just listening to them. And then don't, I think sometimes the other thing we love to do, or I personally sometimes love to do, is give the answer, right?
Or
Most
you
of the time they
feel
know the
like
answer.
they're wanting you to give, Yeah.
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 No, they're just wanting in in a world that doesn't have big round tables that include everyone.
Yeah.
Um, they're just wanting someone to listen
Well,
to
and in a
them.
world that is constantly go, 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 go,
Yeah.
take, that doesn't
That
take the
doesn't
time
give
to,
rest for the table.
yeah.
They're just wanting you just to listen, just listen to them
Yeah.
and build a relationship with them. You know, be a friend, become a friend, be a friend.
Hmm.
I heard this last night and I thought it was so good. People, let me see if I can say it. Because one of the guys in the church said it, and I thought, man, that's mind blowing, mind boggling. He said, Your your trusted friends are not the ones that are there just in the hard times.
Mm,
He said, because that can create a codependency,
yeah.
meaning they'll always run to that friend in the
Yeah.
hard times. They're your good friends, your trusted friends are there for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hmm.
So he said it's not just the ugly or the bad times,
Yeah.
they're also
It's
there
all
for the
of it.
good
You
times.
can
It's
celebrate the highs,
all of it.
lows.
Yeah. And I thought about that and I was like, man, that is revelatory
Yeah.
and so true. And that's how Jesus practiced hospitality. That's how he practiced community. He was there in the good times. He was there in the bad times. He was there in the ugly times. And he still is.
Yeah.
He still
And he
is.
was there to listen and to offer advice when needed, but mostly just listen and just support.
Yeah.
So like who in your life, if you're watching today, can you be that tree for?
Hmm.
Who is somebody, I'm sure you can think of someone that you can just be that constant support, that
Yeah.
friend, that life-changing um that life-changing friend, that life-changing tree.
Hmm.
um, Whether it be somebody at school, somebody in your workplace, somebody even in your family,
Yeah.
that you approach that friendship with no agenda, not I'm gonna get them to church or I'm gonna, have X, Y, and Z. It's just like, hey, how are you? What are you going through? How are your kids? How can I help you
Hmm.
in this? And just listen.
That's right.
Close your mouth and listen
Yep. And also, how can you, I think, if you do go to church, how can you create more space?
for those. Yeah.
It's, I think there's very simple ways in doing that. It's not overcrowding that person.
Hmm.
It's not making it possible for them to meet Jesus there. Um, but it's a simple question like, "Hey," like after service on a Sunday, "Hey, would you
Yeah.
like
What
to
are you doing
walk
for
with me to the
lunch? What are
coffee
you
shop?"
doing?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
"What are you doing for lunch? Let's go eat lunch."
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, we have our connect group this week. We have an extra seat.
Hmm.
Why don't you come and bring your kids or whatever?"
Yeah.
Um, just those simple questions. And you know what? They might not be ready for that, and
Hmm.
that's okay.
But
Don't
you
freak out,
asked. Yeah.
but you
You
ask.
asked. You've
Yeah,
offered the
and you've
invitation.
made room,
Yep.
and it might not be this Sunday, but it might be next
Hmm.
Sunday or it might be next week.
Yeah.
Ask out of a compassionate heart.
Yep.
So, well,
I love it. I love the idea of a table. Like when I think of that, I just think of this massive long banquet table. And there's hundreds of thousands of people on it, but yet nobody's too far away. You can
mhm,
you can have a conversation, yes, with the people around you, but also if you see somebody else down, way down the table, it's like you're right there too. So it's just there's always room. There's
mhm.
always room.
On those
Don't
big
feel
round tables, the thing that I love the
overwhelmed.
most is there's that round circular thing, and so if you couldn't reach across the table, you would
A
spin
lazy
it.
Susan.
Lazy
Yeah.
Susan, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
And you would just spin it like, "Hey, I need some of that sauce." You'd spin it to the other
And there it
person on
is.
the other side of the table, and you could
Yeah.
look him in the eye because 'cause they're sitting across
Yeah.
from you. Everyone seems to be sitting across from each other on a round table?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us in this episode. I think it is episode 5. I don't know if table turners. But if this conversation meant something to you, please share it with someone. Um, please share it with them.
Yeah.
And what else?
And we'll catch you next
Yeah.
time. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so
Pull up a
much.
chair, grab a coffee. If you would just comment, share again,
Yeah.
like, subscribe to our channel,
Get
and
us out there.
yep. Have a great day. And don't forget that this week, invite someone to sit at your table, no
Amen.
matter who they are, where they're from.
Yep.
Include them in the picture. Thank you guys.
Bye.